Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Podcast channel. From the Sugar Shack World headquarters, it's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, Gabe Shenhar, and I know that I've screwed that name up, but we're gonna clarify it with him because Mars was absolutely no help when I asked him earlier.
I sent you something.
I know you did. It was not helpful.
Oh.
Gabe is with Consumer Reports. We're going to talk about EV claimed ranges, how far your EV can go, what the manufacturer says, and
what the reality is.
What the reality is. Not unlike the way it used to be, for the most part, with
EPA mileage.
EPA mileage.
I'm really interested to hear what he has to say because I never can make those numbers.
Well, he's going to tell us about it. Conrad has the racing calendar and the car clinic, and later we'll discuss the stories making auto news headlines this week. Stay with us for hour number 2 of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. Our tire expert and partner in all of this, Jeffrey Zekin, is in the grand state of Michigan.
Enjoying a family reunion.
A family reunion this week. And
hi, Jeffy.
We know that Jeffy's watching, so there's that. We miss you. Come on back. I know that Mars especially misses you. All right, from automotive news this week, 3 Tesla owners in California on Wednesday sued the automaker in a proposed class action that accuses the company of falsely advertising the estimated driving ranges of its electric vehicles. Lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California cites a Reuters article published last week that reported Tesla had created a diversion team out in Nevada to cancel as many range-related appointments as possible after becoming inundated with owner complaints. The lawsuit's 3 plaintiffs cite occasions when their Teslas did not achieve close to their advertised ranges and said they had complained to the company without success. James Porter, a Petaluma, California-based Model Y owner, said in the lawsuit that on one trip, he lost approximately 182 miles of range despite only driving 92 miles. Yikes! The complaint seeks class action status to represent all persons in California who purchased a new Tesla Model 3, Model S, Model Y, and Model X vehicle. It seeks unspecified damages.
And in typical class action performance is everybody in the class will get $1.75. The attorneys will make $200 million, and Tesla walks away scot-free.
Well, that's a side story that we're not going to get into right here, but joining us now from Consumer Reports, Gabe, how do you pronounce your last name, please? Gabe, are you there? Can you hear us? Can you see us? We can see you, but we don't hear you. So I have a feeling that
I don't think he can hear us.
That he can hear us. So we're going to get to him in just a minute. Darn it. Mars is wearing 5 hats today. And so what are you doing?
Pushing buttons.
Why are you doing that?
We're just trying to get a different...
Push the one that says cut. No, one on this end, third one from the end. There you go.
Okay. So we're trying to get him on the air here.
Yep, he can't hear. He knows he can't hear us.
Okay. Well, as we wait for that, I can tell you that, for instance, I'm going to give you some examples here that was supplied by Consumer Reports. The Ford Mustang Mach-E. Okay? Cool-looking vehicle. An SUV. It's not a Mustang, but that's another story for another day. They claim the official EPA range is 270 miles. If the battery and the car is cold, it only gets 188 miles. If it's a mild condition, it gets 250 miles, and under warm condition, it gets 275 miles.
Because the battery performance improves with temperature.
Yeah. Hyundai Ionic 5.
Ionic.
Ionic.
Yes, you are.
I am unique. Official EPA range, 256. Cold, 183. Mild, 245. Warm, 254. Tesla Model Y. 326 is the claim. for miles. Official EPA range. Cold, 186. Mild, 252. Warm, 274. So even at the best of all of the other automakers, which it's all right in there, similar.
Well, I've been to Petaluma. It's never cold in Petaluma.
It's 274 miles, but Tesla claims 326. Volkswagen ID4. Official EPA range of 240. Cold, 170. Mild, 224. Warm, 256.
So somebody's going to sue them over those variances, which is what I find just insane. You know, all of these people, you know, again, the attorneys are going to get rich and the people are going to get nothing.
It's a battery. It changes with the temperature.
It also changes with time. I mean, can I sue somebody because the battery in my iPhone degrades over time? No. Well, probably could, but no. Am I going to? No, because I understand that a battery is going to degrade over time.
Right.
And because of that, my usage is going to have an effect on the life cycle of the battery. So if I'm driving at 60 miles an hour with the cruise control on, I'm going to get better battery life than I'm driving like a wild man at 90 miles an hour like Mars does.
Yeah. Well, this cell phone here, my Samsung Android, I'm almost ashamed to say it now because I've been ridiculed by somebody that we all know. You have an Android? Yes.
Hey, at least you got rid of the flip phone.
I've still got it. It's in the house.
It's the backup, right?
It's the backup. But, yeah, the battery life is much shorter now. Yeah. It's 6 years old.
Yeah, we just replaced Angela's phone because her battery life got below 80%. And they say that's when you trash it because there's a health indicator in an iPhone to look at the health of your battery. I don't know. We'll have to ask our Consumer Reports guy. Is there a health indicator for battery available in the instrumentation of the EV vehicles? You know, can you look at what your not what your battery life is or what your range is, but what the health of the battery is? You know, its ability to accept and retain a charge and deliver that charge over a period of time.
And you know, the other thing is that, and I've read this, I'm not an expert in battery cars, but I will tell you that from what I have heard and seen is that everybody thinks that, oh, well, the car's perfect. Not all battery packs are perfect.
Right.
And there are failures in battery packs.
Well, especially when you look at a lot of the battery packs are not one battery.
Oh, no.
Some of them are a series of batteries.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, each of those batteries may be the size of a VHS tape, and there may be 400 or 500 of them, and any one of them in the middle that goes bad is not individually serviceable. You have to replace the whole battery pack. Now, there are some companies out there who have come up with...
I can vaguely hear the speaker, but I can't make out what he's saying.
Okay, well, I don't know what else to tell. Gabe, can you hear me?
I can hear you very faintly.
Faintly. Well, I don't know how else to help you in that regard.
But we can hear you fine, so...
If you can hear us faintly, at least you can hear us.
I have you on full volume here.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you. And Mars has got the wrong headset on.
So I was talking about how on my iPhone, I can look in my iPhone and see what my battery health is. Is there such a screen or a device inside of EV cars to look at the battery health?
Well, not exactly. Some cars give you a display of the battery state of charge as well as the range. The predicted range, but as far as battery health, only third-party outfits can give you that, and even that you have to take with a grain of salt.
So, Gabe, I'm assuming that you can hear me talk to you, and I will tell you that we we read a story that Tesla facing California class action status on EV range claims, and the research that you guys have done and your story indicates that all of them are about the same when it comes to the temperature affecting how much range you can actually get out of the batteries for almost all the vehicles except Tesla, who claims their official EPA range of 326 miles, but even with perfect conditions, where the weather is warm and everybody else is at their max, they only get 274 miles. So what was the testing criteria that you guys used? Clearly, temperature is one of them.
So let me start with this. For the record, this is a very different test than the EPA test. So the EPA tests in varied speeds and at lab testing. Our test was on-road testing of cruising at 70 miles an hour, which is typical of any kind of road trip, and this is what most people associate with range. So we took 4 popular EVs, the Tesla Model Y, the Ionic, Honda Ionic 5, the VW ID4, and the Ford Mustang Mach-E, with 3 times, once in frigid weather in February, once in mild day of April, mid-60s, and another time in typical summer conditions of mid-80s on an August day. So we found that compared to the mild weather of mid-60s in frigid weather, which that day the temperature averaged 16 degrees Fahrenheit, the range took a hit of about 25%, which was common throughout all 4 models. And if you compare it to the warm weather, that hit was 31%, which was actually a surprise. Our expectation was that we were going to get the longest range in mild weather, but we actually got the longest range in mid-80s type weather, even though the AC had to work harder than it had to in mid-60s.
But that kind of performance range variance of the battery is maybe not in the number of range, but even a lead acid battery of a 12-volt battery of a regular car, that battery's performance varies depending on the ambient temperature. So it's not uncommon to see that performance change based on what the ambient temperature is.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. We sought to quantify that difference so people can know what they should expect, because there have been a lot of numbers flying out there. Yeah, you lose 17%, you lose 34%, but compared to what? You always have to have a baseline. You have to have a nominal range that you want to compare yourself to. So that was the point of our experiment, and I'll just stress that everything was exactly the same. The route was the same drivers, the same regen setting, the same speed, the same setting for the climate control. So everything was completely equal except for the outside temperature.
So do you think that there is the deviation is in the EPA testing for the battery range, or is it in the manufacturers jacking around with the EPA testing?
Well, I can't speak for manufacturers or for the EPA, but there are all kinds of factors that go into the EPA testing, and all kinds of and manufacturers have a role to play. But our goal was to do something that's real world and something that consumers can relate to, because a highway cruise at 70 miles an hour is not something the EPA tests for, and that's what you and I would consider a typical range when we look at going traveling to a ski resort in Vermont, or going on a long distance trip from here to DC, for instance.
70 miles an hour down Interstate 10 will put you in the middle lane because you're not fast enough to get out there amongst the big boys.
Yeah. Well, I will. Let me say this. I experienced one time at a manufacturer facility on a test track that they were doing, quote unquote, EPA testing on some of the vehicles that they manufactured. Not going to tell you which one. It doesn't make any difference. But they were actual employees of the manufacturer. And I was told that the EPA really doesn't actually do the test.
Correct.
They set the criteria.
And the
manufacturer reports those figures not only to the EPA, but that's what they put on the window sticker. Yeah. Is that the same for battery-operated vehicles?
As far as I know, it is largely the same. So there is a collaboration between the EPA and the manufacturers in arriving at that number.
Yeah.
I will say also that there is a city number and a highway number for the EPA, but what consumers see on the sticker is only an overall number, a single number.
So Consumer Report's goal was to come up with a consistent comparative test between those four vehicles with the range of ambient temperatures to show how that variance and deliver that to the public.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, this wasn't about proving anybody right or wrong. It was about, here's the data that we delivered and here's how we delivered it, because nobody really knows. And I don't know if Consumer Reports knows exactly what the test criteria is for the EPA numbers as well. You know, is that public knowledge, or is that something that they kind of keep to themselves? Because you got to remember, Volkswagen took a huge hit years ago about jacking with the system on the diesels and how they come up with their EPA fuel mileage numbers, and they paid a huge price for it.
Yeah, it wasn't meant as a commentary about the EPA or about Tesla. It was purely meant as consumer information that would align expectations for anyone who owns an EV and for anyone who is a prospective EV buyer.
I think before you joined us and you could hear us, I read the story that Automotive News had just a couple days ago that Tesla facing California class action on its EV range claims. And as you found out and gave us the information, the official EPA range, 326 miles, when in reality, on a warm day, the Tesla Model Y only got 274 miles.
Yeah. If you look at all the ranges we got and compare them to the EPA, even though it's not apples to apples comparison, then the gap between what the Tesla got to what other cars got compared to the EPA is the widest gap.
Right.
I mean, just for what it's worth, the Model Y, the Tesla Model Y, and the Mach-E were within 1 or 2 miles of range on each one of the 3 runs throughout.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Cold, mild, and warm days. And it was definitely an eye-opener when I saw the official EPA range and what you actually got. Well, Gabe, it's great to talk to you. Sorry for the technical issues that we had early on, but I will tell you that it's very interesting information, and we always love talking to Consumer Reports. And I assume that this particular report is available to the public without having to actually join Consumer Reports on your website.
Yeah, it is available to the public. We published it. We already updated the story twice. So if you just Google Consumer Reports, range tests, it should pop right up.
Okay, consumerreports.org/cars/hybrids. And there you go. Gabe, thank you so much again for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. N-Wheel Time Race Card is sponsored by Texas Nostalgia Modified Production.
Yeah, and as we were talking to Angel Sampé before, the next NHRA event is next weekend at Kansas, and then August 17th through the 19th at Brainerd. Then the U.S. Nationals is always Labor Day weekend, and the weekend after that is Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. So lots of stuff going on in NHRA. NASCAR next weekend is the Indy Road Course. The weekend after that is the Watkins Glen Road Course. Interesting to see two road courses coming into the championship countdown like that. And then August 26th is the second Daytona race, which used to run 4th of July weekend, but they did that Chicago thing 4th of July weekend instead. So
I really like that Chicago race.
I liked it. It was a shame that so much of it was rained out, but I thought it was a pretty interesting race.
Right.
Running for their lives. Formula One, the Dutch Grand Prix is the weekend of August the 27th. They're on their summer break right now. Think about that. I get a summer break.
Summer break?
You know,
What the hell is that?
They've always taken a couple of 3 weeks
That's
off.
dumb.
In the summer.
Because they think it's too hot.
No, it's Formula One because they're all
And they're all Europeans, and everybody
They're
gets
all
a
prima
month off all the time over there.
And then the Italian Grand Prix is Labor Day weekend. You don't forget about it.
Forget about
That's
it,
right.
eh?
Don't forget about
IMSA is going to be at Virginia International Raceway the 27th of August. IndyCar is at Gateway the 27th of August as well.
Thank you, sir. Jeff is out today on his family vacation up in Michigan. So Mr. Mars is wearing many hats today, and one of them is doing Jeff's feature that he put together for us, 5 most popular drag racing movies.
Now, you can take, and your popular means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but what we kind of looked at was what that you hear a lot of talk about, a lot of hype about. Now, number 5 that I went with was Heart Like a Wheel. Now, this is the biographical film about Shirley Muldowney. This takes and it goes through her life. It kind of goes through her life story, brings her into the drag racing where she's trying to break into a sport that's dominated by men. Why didn't it cut? There it went. And so she had to, it goes into something about her life. It's not just a bunch of drag cars. Here's a shot of her dragster that she was running Top Fuel. She ran a little bit into the funny car world. And this right here is what I think is her most famous poster. Didn't stop when it was supposed to stop.
Because you got too many damn fingers on the computer, Mars.
You're right.
Oh, here she is with the Mustang.
Yeah, this right here is what I think.
I have a signed poster of that.
I do. I also have one. When she was here, we talked to her in Baytown.
And she says, "You sure you want me to put Love Shirley on there for you?" I said, "Absolutely."
Well, I didn't get the love. But
Love you, Donnie.
Yes.
So then number 4 is another one that's kind of become a cult for a lot of reasons, and it is Two Lane Blacktop. Now, I found this show rather interesting. It's kind of basically, it's about two guys. And one of them is called the driver. The other is called the mechanic. They don't have names in the show. That's just what they go by. And one of them was James Taylor, and they drag raced their...
James Taylor, the singer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the driver.
In that movie? He was the one who drove the 55.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
And remember, that 55, we had the guy on the show from Keels and Wheels who drove that car in high school because his dad built the car for the movie.
They actually had 3 different cars they used to get that movie made. The main car had a 454, aluminum heads, tunnel rams, twin Hollies sitting up on top of it. So it was a real performance vehicle. It just wasn't sitting there to look cool. And it culminates in a big race between the 55 and a GTO driven by Warren Oates, and they're racing for pinks. And I won't spoil it for you since you seem to have not caught it yet, all of it.
And I think that was a 70 GTO Ram Air 4.
Whatever.
It matters to
Number
Pontiac
3.
people.
Now, this is where it starts getting into where box office really makes a difference. American Graffiti came out, and it was about the transition from high school, going off to college, and a night in Southern California this group of kids went through.
Actually, it was Modesto, California,
Modesto?
which would
What
be
did I
Central
say?
California.
Picky.
Well, just finish the story, for God's
So they
sakes,
go out through the
Conrad.
night, and so it's their escapades. There's 58 Chevys, there's 32 Fords, there's another 55 in it, and this is all centered around Mills Drive-In where they meet up for the weekend and they go off on all their escapades. But it culminates in the big race out on Paradise Road. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Guess who that is?
Suzanne Summers.
That's right.
We all knew that one.
Yes, sir. And it, like I
was
say,
hot.
and she was really cool because that's all you saw was just her face there inside of the car. But it ends up out on Paradise Road in the big race between Milner and Falfa in the 55, and Milner wins, and it's all good like it's supposed to be. Now, then from there, you get into the more serious money where you got Grease. Now, you may think, why is this musical? It's all back in the 50s, but it culminates also in the big drag race from the high school team and their nemesis from the Scorpion Club. They're racing for pinks. And they have the big race in the L.A. River. Yes, yes, yes.
That is Southern California.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He doesn't spend a lot of time out there. Remember where he's from.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't, they don't have airplanes going in and out of Neaterville.
$396 million in the box office on this one. So it was pretty popular, played forever and ever, and is still on TV. Yes. Now you get into, and here's the 40 Ford, the Grease Lightning that they built in the high school shop. What happened to my picture? And this is
Lightning.
And this is the Scorpion car, and then they're racing, like you say, in the L.A. River. Turned into a big race. Then you get to the what I think is going to end up being the number one for a lot of reasons, including the box office. Start in 2001 that started off the series of the Fast and Furious. It made $207 million just to kick it off, and now it's up to what, number 42?
Yeah, I think
Fast and Furious 42 or something like that. So, and it's street racers, but it also culminates in the big drag race there towards the end with the 70-mile Charger sitting up on the rear bumper and all this and blown. And it really is the big drag race. And all these movies culminate in the big drag race. And that's where you get it.
And then, but you left out our friend Erica Enders and her life story that was a Disney movie. What was the name of the movie, Don?
That's it.
It was, but as her as a junior dragster.
Correct. Right. I couldn't find it because I couldn't think of the name of it. So, sorry, Erica.
Oh, well, she's going to.
Well, I'm going to move on because I can't think of it either. But that's fitting for my age. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcast at your fingertips. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk show continues right after this quick break. Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise in date right here on In-Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise Inn, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.